Okay, so we're going to start in Procreate with a square canvas. Go ahead and choose the background layer, and you can choose whatever color you want. I chose a dark navy for the nighttime sky. And then on the layer 1, you want to go to Elements and then the Driven Snow brush, which should come with Procreate. And choose white. If you didn't know, you can double tap close to white and also close to black to get pure white or pure black. Here I'm just playing around with the different size, or changing the size of the brush to get different effects of the snow. This part is a lot of trial and error. This is the second time I've done this project, but every time obviously your snow is going to look a little bit different. So you can see sometimes this might be too bright or too large, and you can always hit undo. But yeah, it's just a process of layering the snow brush at different sizes. Clearly that was too big. You just want to make it look as realistic as possible. This is a really nice brush, and like I said, it should come with your Procreate app. So if you hear barking or growling, I'm recording this with my dogs, so I'm hoping that they don't start barking because this has to be done in one take. So I think at this point I started playing with the opacity of the brush. Yeah, over there on the right, that's where you can play with the opacity, lower the opacity. So I did that to see if I could get a different depth. I'm not sure why that's blinking. I don't know what I was doing. So next step would be another layer. It's always important to start a new layer with everything that you're doing. So then I went down to my circle brush. I got this online a while ago. If I can find a link to it, I'll put it in the description. So basically I added a circle and then increased the size to what I wanted. And then I'm going to center it as much as I can and then fill it. It's my dog, if you can hear that. He's growling. So drag that in there. You can also select the layer and then fill it. But now I'm lowering the opacity to see what kind of effect I want, and adding another layer. And let's see. So this is when I'm going to draw a line through the center. And if you don't know, in Procreate, if you draw a line and then you hold your pen down, it will make a perfectly straight line, which is nice. New layer to do the lettering. So, and throughout this video you'll see I try to remember to do a new layer for either every word or every letter, but I do often forget, so gonna start it again. Oh, this is where I'm showing you how if you select and layer and then choose alpha lock, and then on the layer above it you can write or draw within it, and it will stay within that object. But I decided not to go with that effect. And even though this doesn't seem that fast, if it does seem fast, I had already done this project once before, and then someone had asked me to make this tutorial, so I didn't have my screen recorded, so I just did it again. So I did have an idea of what I was going to be doing. Playing with the layout there. Layer. Like I said, a lot of times I forget to do it for every single word, so sometimes I do it for every line. Here I'm trying to figure out how to fit that word in there nicely. I'm often using the undo command to figure out, to fix things or change things. Here I'm doing the alpha lock again. So you select the layer, click alpha lock, well, click select, then click alpha lock. And then when you're on that other layer, when you let her see it, it doesn't go outside what that layer has on it, the layer below it, which is pretty cool. I use that a couple times in this tutorial. Next, I'm doing a different style of lettering at the bottom, and I'm also using the function where you draw a straight line and hold your pen down and it straightens. That comes in handy a lot for this kind of thing. Sometimes you want it to look really hand lettered, but sometimes it's nice to have that clean line look. And here I've forgotten to do new layers for every letter, which for a layout like this, you're especially if you're doing it for the first time. Like I said, I'd already done this project once, but if you were, planning this out, you'd probably want to move these letters around a lot on their own. So having them on their own layers, just I probably go through this and create layers, which is a good skill to know how to do that. But if you can remember to do new layers, it's just more helpful in the end. And obviously I'm trying to do this along the edge of the circle. Here's where I'm trying to select. I forgot to create a new layer with each letter, so I'm selecting with the select tool. And then if you do cut and paste, it will put that H or whatever you cut and paste onto a new layer. And then I'm going to do it with this piece as well. Select, and in order to get to that menu with cut and paste, you use 3 fingers, swipe down on the canvas, and that will come up. Used to be a different command, but since they updated Procreate this year, that's the command. So I do that a lot. When I forget to do layers, I choose the select button up in the left next to your arrow cursor, draw around whatever it is, and cut and paste it, and that puts it on its own layer. Just finishing up those letters here. And like I said, I'd already done this layout once, and this isn't the best version, but I was just doing this for the tutorial. But the first time I did it, I moved these letters around a lot more, centering them and redrawing them. So here I'm just redrawing that line. I'm using the select, and then I'm going to use the select. I'm going to select that circle, click select, and then click alpha lock, and that's going to allow me in layer 14 to draw the white straight line across, and it's going to stay within that circle. I'm just going to draw a bow, probably a couple times. I never like anything I do the very first time. And then that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to show you the way that I did the two different versions in my previous post on Instagram. So one was the low opacity white circle that allowed you to see the background through it, and then I did one with a navy background. So I just made one not visible for the time being, put the opacity of one of them up to full opacity. You can see it's pure white there, and then I just chose oh, there's my screen. Then I just chose the navy eventually, if I get it right. And I just pull from the circle, that's why that's happening. So I just pull it down, it fills it, and that's the other version that I made. So you can see two different versions of the same thing. It's really easy as long as you remember to duplicate, like I duplicated that circle. And this is, I'm showing you how to export your photos. So yeah, you can choose either version. So I think that's it, and thank you for watching.